So, hello, welcome back to the next episode of the Self-Development with Thanksssssss podcast. A little bit different today, as in the other episode as well that I've already recorded. But yeah, anyway, today is going to be about some Reddit questions. It's going to be amazing, it's going to be good, it's going to be about amazing people, it's going to be an amazing thing. And I'm going to see you after the intro, as always. Amazing times, amazingly interesting times that we're having, right? Actually, really indeed interesting. Interesting, of course, in a negative and also in a relatively positive way, I'd say, because negative, of course, it is fucked up. Positive, because it is showing us some things and it is showing us that we should maybe not take everything for granted, first of all. Second of all, for what we should actually be grateful for. And third of all, that, that things can go bad. They really can. And what it is like to just have a look at other people and watch other people and be sure that they are fine, and maybe just stepping a little bit back and having a look at the other people and trying to take care of the other people, first of all, and second of all, of yourself as well. But yeah, anyway, as you can see in the background of the screen or on the left side here, and there is some questions. I hope that there's going to be some good questions. I kind of also assume that there are going to be. The first one: how to deal with self-doubt, jealousy, and incompetence. I think self-doubt, and I'm going to basically quote a bunch of people when I'm talking about these things. I guess self-doubt is all about the people that put something into your mind. I believe, and this is something that Gary Vee also said, that, and I didn't thought about it for quite some time. I didn't really believe in it for quite some time. I thought, like, I'm not quite sure. And I'm not quite sure if it is really other people that put this voice into your head and therefore you also think that way. But at this point in time, I really believe in it. Because why? You know, you're not getting born with self-doubt. It's like, it doesn't make any sense. Why? You know, we are so competent and also confident as young adults, as people, as children, like as babies, like we're doing everything. Of course, we fell down and we just, hurt ourselves and whatnot, but we then just go ahead and stuff, and we just walk around. Nobody can do anything to us unless we are feared, but this is just something that's natural to us human beings. So self-doubt really for me seems not to be something that's quite something you're born with, I guess. You know, it just wouldn't make too much sense, I'd say. On the other hand, there's also jealousy. I think incompetence, like, it just comes up to what you're all about. Like, you're good at this, I'm good at that. I'm bad at this and you're bad at that. You know, this is what I think about. Like, we're also not supposed to be good at everything. Why as well? Like, it doesn't make any sense. If you're good at everything, then fine. You're just pretty cool and whatnot. but it is what it is. Jealousy, I think, just most often comes up to comparing yourself to other people, which is just as such not a good thing, because of course you might be, I think I've actually been having an episode only and precisely about that, and it's actually been a pretty interesting one, featuring a lot of different articles and a lot of different thoughts of other people as well, so not only my thoughts and what I believe in and what I think about it in terms of that, but turning out that it is just a good way to just see where you are, which just definitely makes sense. You know, if you just compare yourself to other people, you know whether you're the best, whether you're just the worst and shit. Like, in this sense, it makes sense. Of course, judging yourself by yourself in terms of comparing yourself to yourself just makes the most sense, because you are who you are. You're having this genetics. This other person is having that genetics. You know, therefore this person is more sporty, more athletic than you are, because there's different genetics. And that's quite it. So why should you be comparing yourself to somebody else that is just completely different? You know, from ground up, completely different. Like, it doesn't really make any sense. This is my point, actually. But jealousy, as I said, I think really comes up to comparing yourself to somebody else, like seeing what this person has, seeing what that person has, and then thinking like, oh, I don't have that. Well, yeah, you know, but you might be having just more than you had a year ago. Maybe you're actually having less than a year ago, but then you have to change something up if you want to change something about that, if you do want to do something about it. So intellectual, social, and not romantic. Yes, it's about comparing, especially when it comes up to something like this. Whether it is actually romantic tactic stuff or social and intellectual stuff. But I think incompetence is also like self-doubt. I think it's the same thing. Like even though as I said, you're not going to be competent at everything. You're having some talents and I'm having some talents and this person has some talents and that person has some talents. And this is what it is. And I think it is also good in that way, that not everyone is good at everything. So yeah. Survivor bias. What a mathematician during World War II taught us about mental biases. Is it actually a long one? No, I do not want to confirm my email. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Is there like just seeing the full picture? Maybe I'm going to read a little bit into it. Maybe there's something we can get out of it. During World War II, researchers from the Center of Naval Analysis conducted a study on the damage done to returned aircraft after missions. They then recommended adding armor to the areas that showed. It's actually a pretty interesting one. I think this is something that Seth Godin asked about, but I'm going to read because I'm not quite sure. They then recommended adding more armor to the areas that showed the most damage to minimizing bomber losses to enemy fire. The most. Okay, I'm going to read because I don't really remember it. However, Abraham Walch suggested differently. Walch was a Hungarian mathematician and a member of the Statistical Research Group, which is the SRG apparently, while he applied his statistical skills to various wartime problems. He noted that the study was only conducted on the aircraft that had survived their missions. So, yeah, if these areas got shot of these airplanes and they then survived, then they're probably safe enough. But putting something in these areas where there's just no holes makes sense, because these are probably the areas where the other aircrafts died because of, or just broke because of. And I think this is the point there. He noted that the study was only conducted on the aircraft that had survived their missions. It didn't paint a complete picture when the bombers that had been shot down were not presented for the damage assessment. With that, the holes in the returning aircrafts were areas that need no extra armor, since the bombers could take damage, and still return safely. On the other hand, the areas where the returning aircraft were unscattered or unscathed are those areas that, if hit, would cause the plane to crash and be lost. Yes, this is all the point. And I think, this is actually, a great lesson too. And I wonder where this is from. I wonder where people get something like that from, because I'm so interested in all these stories. Like, I really, really, really like stories. Like, it is incredible. It's pretty cool. Especially stories like that, like people being able to just get to something because they're smart and because they think about some things in a different way and shit. Like, it is a cool thing, I would say. Just gonna take a sip of my water. Well, anyway, I wonder, and I still wonder, and I'm probably gonna wonder in a few years as well. The next question, no one will read this, but that is okay. And 163 people voted it up in the self-improvement Reddit or subreddit, which is a pretty important thing. And the first comment is, best of luck on this journey of life. First step is to be self-aware, so I think you're fine so far. Good luck to you, however, don't overload yourself at once in the beginning. First goal, or one goal at a time. So these are his goals. Learn a new language, study with basic apps, read books and listen to music and stories in that language, start speaking to a partner in the desired language. I would also say having all your technical devices set on that language. I'm having everything that I'm having on English or in English. And I think it is actually a pretty great part and a pretty big part of learning a language, to just surround yourself with this language, whether it is actually music, as he says, and or movies and whatnot. But I think it just has something to do with everything, whatever you're using. Phones, computer, TV, books, looking up things. You shouldn't look up things in the other language, but you should look it up in the languages that you want to learn, and all these things. Like, I think it just makes sense. The next thing, learn and practice trumpet and guitar. I don't know anything about that, but there's probably some grips, and now I'm talking about some things that Tim Ferriss is often talking about and referring to, which is the, I hope I'm remembering it correctly. It is an acronym, and the acronym is something like DSSSS, I guess, which is deconstruct, sequence, something and something else. I don't remember. Deconstruct is what are the most important things of the thing that you're willing to learn. In guitar, there might be just, and there you should also be using the 80-20 rule because it makes sense and because it is a good thing. And when you're playing the guitar, there might be some grips or some ways to play it that are just, I don't know, 20% of all there are, but they're making up of 80% of all the different sounds the guitar is making, or 80% of all the different sounds you have to use in like 80% of the music that you want to play or something. Like there might be some way you can implement the 80-20 rule and then just construct that down to sequencing. Makes it sense to, or does it make sense to go from the very least difficult to the very most difficult thing? Or does it make sense actually to vice versa that and do it from the most hardest grip to the easiest and whatnot? Because sometimes that works, to really think about that. Then just practice, I'd say. But there's also other things to that. The SSSS, Tim Ferriss. Actually pretty cool. It's actually a shame that I forgot about it so often. Model for rapid learning. Let's see. And I'm also actually going to show you so that you know that as well and see that. Deconstruct, selection, sequencing, and stakes. The first step aims to identify the key quality characteristics of the process to master. Ferriss does this by studying best practices and starting to figure out what elements appear essential to producing the results. This includes focusing on the outcome you are trying to achieve and how you will measure it. Ferriss does not include processes mapping specifically in this step. Selection. This is where the Pareto principle comes into their play. And in the second step, he attempts to identify the quality characteristics with that that will produce the greatest results. What's the 20% of activities that will produce 80% of the results? Sequencing, this is basically what I've been referring to before. And stakes is, finally, Ferriss is well aware of human psychology and the role it plays in the change, which means that you just make yourself accountable for whatever you make. What is on the stake? Maybe it's going to be money, maybe you're just betting with somebody, maybe you're just doing something else to just make yourself feel accountable and also make yourself do that, whatever it is. Lose my pornography addiction? Yes. And be financially stable. So saving makes sense and just living a little tiny bit frugally. The next, it's more or less a story, is a really, really, really interesting one. I just want to have a look and see whether the recording is fine. And it is fine. It truly is fine. So this hero saved millions of kids by donating blood 1,173 times throughout his life. James Harrison, 81 years old, makes his last blood donation on Friday in Sydney, Australia. His blood contains a rare antibody used in a medication that officials say has helped save the lives of more than 2 million babies, I guess. I can't just unfortunately see it, but this is an amazing thing and he looks really happy with what he's doing. I do wonder how he's feeling. I do wonder if he also feels like, wow, I've saved so many people. I'm the greatest motherfucker on the fucking planet. Not a lot of people saved 2 million babies, I assume. Must be, kind of, yeah. Must be. Ha 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 ha. The next one. But I think it's just an amazing thing. Like, it really is an amazing thing to being able to say that, I guess, but mostly just being able to do that. Like, saying is cool, but doing is better. I put together a list of 29 successful online businesses started during a recession. Like, I think it is actually, I can understand it. Like, I do not want to judge people, but it is just a little bit of a pity that people just really think about making the most money in these times that we're having. I'm not saying anything against making money with things that are actually then good and actually also benefit the people. But if it is just something to make money, then I don't know. Like, I don't believe that it is so good ethical-wise and moral-wise and stuff. But I think this is something that everybody has to think about on his and or her own. Illustration of social distancing. Actually, a pretty cool one from The Hindu. I didn't even know that this is a newspaper. It is practically this easy to stop the virus from spreading. It's actually done in a really cool way. So for the podcast listeners, it is basically a bunch of words, every word on its own, and it is somewhere on the page, deconstructed away from each and another, and this is the whole point. Actually, pretty cool thing. No, I don't want to click that. Please go away. Thank you. Something to lighten up your mood. Marketing. I did really not expect that. Something to lighten up your mood or their mood. Zoom meeting, audio only. Zoom meeting with video. And on the left side, we are having a dog. And on the right side, we're having also a dog. But the right dog in the Zoom meeting with video is having sunglasses and looks like Elvis Presley and stuff. Interesting. And funny. Anyone find they drop their healthy habits the minute they start feeling better and then just wind up feeling worse again? Any tip to keep up your healthy habits on the days in which you feel you don't need them? Yes, it's an incredibly important thing, and it is also something that I had to think about, and I had to just, basically, let's put it like, I think about makes the most sense there. In terms of actually breathing exercises, at this point in time, I'm still doing them. I'm most often doing them when I'm in the shower. Yesterday, I didn't have a dedicated session, but today I'm hopefully going to have another one. It's basically Wim Hof's method, which is going to be 30 to 40, he says, breathing ins, really deep breathing ins, without breathing it completely out. After the 30 breaths, you're going to have one breath out, and then you have to hold your breath without any breath actually in the end. You can do it for more than a minute actually. It really comes up to how much oxygen you have been able to get into your body. But then you breathe in once again for 15 seconds, I guess, and then you exhale, and then you're gonna do the cycle once again. It is a really good technique to just first of all get high on your own supply, as he likes to say, because you basically are hyperventilating, and there's so much oxygen in your body that you feel like crippling and not crippling but tingling, yes, and all these things. Like, it is a really amazingly interesting feeling that you're gonna have, and it is also good for your immune system and all different other things, as he claims, and I also believe in that, since oxygen and breathing, and people have probably been doing this for years, but we just have forgotten about that, I guess, I assume, but I don't know. Give me one of the most dark, twisted fantasy books you have. Okay, this is books. When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surely they are like this because they can't tell good from evil. From Marcus Aurelius. I think this is just a really good way to shift one's attention from, okay, these people are just morons and motherfuckers, to these people are just how they are. And maybe also something happened to them, and maybe they're just not good enough, and maybe they just can't decide whether something is evil or something is good. I think it is a good way. I think it is a good way to just think about things in a different light, which is always something that I enjoy to do, actually. Today I learned a slave was indicated for waging war against the state and was later sentenced to be hanged for treason. Two dissenting judges argued that a slave being a non-citizen could not commit treason. I don't know what treason actually is. He was later pardoned. Is pardon what I mean it is? Forgiveness. Okay. Pretty cool thing. I like those judges. I really like. By the way. It is loading. I should actually think about it just early, I guess. I'm always just thinking about it in the just latest few minutes of the whole video there. It is loading. It's loading, but I'm fine with it. Window washers of Reddit. What is the most meme you have seen while on the job? Books about being okay living as a poor person. Something about still living a dignified life despite being impoverished. Not about how to make more money. Not how to make more. I think it's basically about feeling good with what you're having, I guess. A person's behavior is a reflection of their relationship with themselves. Yes, I think it makes sense, because if you're hurting yourself, then you're not having that good of a relationship with yourself. But if you really keep yourself in good shape, you always eat right and all that things, that I think just means and sounds like that you really care about yourself, and you're also respecting yourself maybe, and all these things. Holy fuck, I lost 10 pounds. Fucking good. I love that. Business name for construction company. Construct.io. No, don't do that. Avoiding your past self. I don't know if avoiding is the best thing. Maybe this is a question. I'm not going to click on it because it takes a little bit of time. But I think you shouldn't avoid your past, but you should rather be able to deal with it in a way like, okay, you're fine with it. And it is okay for you that everything happened as it happened and everything is what it is. Like business ideas for drinks or sauces. Today I learned a man was arrested because he was pissed off at Bank of America for freezing his account, leaving him penniless. That he placed a bag of his own urine and fish bait to rot into their safety deposit box as a form of justice. Don't do that. Don't do that. It's not funny. It's not cool, but it is somehow... No, it's not funny. Today I learned a fed-up JetBlue flight attendant announced his resignation over the PA system upon landing. He then grabbed 2 beers from a beverage cart and exited by deploying the plane's emergency slide. The question of today is, because finally it is there, the question of today is, do you care enough about yourself as you should? Do you care about your health? Do you care about your body? Do you care about how you're feeling? Do you care about the relationship you're having with other people, which just also translate back to feeling good or feeling bad, I'd say. Are you doing enough of that? Are you doing just enough of that so that you would say that it is enough? Yeah. This is the question. This is the question. Well, I'm actually willing to read it once again. Today I learned a fed-up JetBlue flight attendant announced his resignation over the PA system upon landing. He then grabbed, I do want to point that out, grabbed 2 beers from a beverage cart and exited by deploying the plane's emergency slide. I do wonder what the comments there are. Why the fuck would you actually be doing that? Inspecting and repacking the slides cost approximately $10,000 to $15,000. It's basically one flight worth of luggage and seat upgrades. Well. You wish every passenger on that jet can also choose to bring forth a lawsuit in civil court. Okay. For what damages? According to the article, they had already landed and their destination. You don't get to sue just because he had to witness the guy throw a tantrum. Anyone can bring a case doesn't mean it is smart. Correct. You can see or sue, but you can't necessarily recover or collect. So there's actually, it seems to be an article, I assume. So let's see. I hope it's not going to be something that's Avril 503. All backhands failed or unhealthy. A backhands fail or unhealthy. Guru meditations. Details. Vanish cache server. Well, it does not seem to be that of a good thing. History.com. It's actually a history.com link. JetBlue flight attendant quits job via escape slide. On this day in 2010, JetBlue flight attendant Steven Slater quit his job in dramatic style by sliding down his plane's emergency escape chute while the aircraft is stopped near the terminal gate at New York's John F. Kennedy International Airport. Slater, who claimed his actions were prompted by the behavior of a rude passenger, quickly became a media sensation and national folk hero. At the time of the incident, the 30-year-old Slater was a steward on Flight 1052 from Pittsburgh to New York City. He contended that when the flight landed, a passenger became abusive toward him during an argument over luggage. Although other passengers on the flight later disputed Slater's account of the passenger's behavior, what happened next was clear. The flight attendant got on the plane's public address system, cursed at the passenger and said, "I've been in this business for 20 years and that's it. I've had it, I'm done." Afterward, he took 2 beers from the beverage cart, deployed the emergency exit and started down the slide. Realizing he would left his bags on the aircraft, he scrambled back up the slide to retrieve them before fleeing down the cut again, whatever it's pronounced. After leaving the airport terminal, he drove to his home in Queens, New York. Actually, a little bit more I might be linking down in the description. I'm probably going to forget about it, but anyway, this is going to be the end of the episode. I wish you the best health, happiness, and also success, and I also hope that you're going to remind yourself when you're going to be remembered, which basically means your legacy, and basically means just being a nice person, and then also being remembered as a nice person. And yeah, with that being said, 3 other questions that I'm having for you are, Why are you here? What are you trying to change? And what is bothering you the most? These 3 questions are hopefully going to show you your purpose and maybe even a business idea. And yeah, I'm hopefully going to see you the next time. Bye bye. Thank you for all the time. And yeah, I'll see you.